Maryland basketball takes another bad loss.
You are Locked On Terps, your daily podcast on the Maryland Terps, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everyone? I'm Tre Moore, host of Locked On Terps, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So thank you guys all for making us part of your day. And today's episode is brought to you by the Gametime app. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Maryland basketball takes another terrible loss, embarrassing loss, whatever you want to call it, against Illinois basketball. The Fighting Illini absolutely embarrassed Maryland basketball after me having, I don't want to say false hope. I didn't expect us to win the game, but I did expect us to have maybe a little bit of a better fight than what we had against Illinois. And this just shows you that how sharp Vegas and the odds are. But coming off the Penn State win, the Penn State win. I'm not even used to saying win. I was like, wait, win. But coming off the Penn State win, 96-73 at home, getting some big-time offensive production, especially from a guy like Diggy Coy, having a good game offensively, different guys playing well up and down our roster, us out-rebounding them, out-hustling them, all those different things. I felt like against Illinois, maybe we would have a fighting chance to compete, not to win the game. Like I knew we weren't probably going to win the game, but a fighting chance to compete. And believe it or not, the first half actually, like I kind of actually predicted, went really well for Maryland basketball, relatively speaking. We were only down by 5, 31-36. And then the next half is when it got bad. Second half, we lost 48-35. But I thought we had a chance to keep it close. We kind of kept it close according to the spread, but it's not acceptable where Maryland basketball is out. And some things have to change, and Buzz Williams has to do a much better job overall. And I think one place that I'm looking at that I'm just think has to be different right now is to quickly look at what has to change. Man, I liked Isaiah Watts coming into the season. I like what I thought he was going to be able to bring to Maryland basketball. I thought he was going to be able to be a pretty good player. I think I didn't understand what his game was coming in, though, as well. I thought he was more of a guy that was supposed to be a guy that gets to the rim. Like, I felt like that was a lot of the film that was going on. And now it's kind of a guy that just settles for a lot of shots. And we saw that against Indiana. I feel like I rarely see that guy get to the rim. I see all his shots be three-point shots. And I think his minutes just have to go down because right now he just can't shoot. He can't make shots. And it's pretty disappointing, I would say, to see kind of what's been going on. I just don't think Watts is a guy that should be playing as much. I know he's had some success this year. I know he's played decently at times this year, but he's just a guy that he just hasn't really been there for me. He's been in the starting lineup, but when he's in the starting lineup, just doesn't really do much. Like, I just don't see it really right now with Isaiah Watts. I know his minutes have gone down, but I think giving them another guy a starting opportunity, I think would be really big for Maryland basketball and could make a lot of sense because right now Isaiah Watts isn't getting it done. He only really shoots threes. Like I saw him go 0 for 2 from the three-point arc, not seeing him get to the rim, not seeing him shoot other shots. And yeah, I think he's definitely kind of putting a halt in our offense, and it can't stay. But excuse me, I had the halftime score wrong. I knew this. I don't know why I said that. We were getting blown out at half, but we played a good second half to reverse that. So kind of similar to what I predicted. Maryland gets blown out in the first half, but puts together a decent second half after Illinois took their gas off the pedal a little bit, 100%. I would like to see Isaiah Watts be better. Hasn't been good this season. I think it's time for him to take a bench role. And I would really think long and hard about giving a guy like Miles Rice a chance. I know he might not be having quite the year we want him to have, but we're seeing his role hopefully expand a little bit. He made 2 threes against Illinois. I just think he's one of our better offensive guys to go next to a guy like Diggy Coit, to go next to a guy like Darius Adams, guys that are taking a lot of shots, not always efficient with the shots that they get, but guys that are trying to keep us in the game. And I think we need that offense. And I think Miles Rice can provide a lot of that. Or substituting in for a guy like Andre Mills, who actually played pretty well against Illinois. He made a lot of threes. I think he had 4 3-pointers. He looked confident. He's been confident all year taking them. And if he's able to shoot, he's going to be a really good player for Maryland basketball in the future. He's only technically a freshman. So he still has a bright future, I think, with his ability. And hopefully he's back next year. He's definitely a guy I would like to see back. He played well. Solomon Washington, man, like, I love that kid. No matter what, 120%, 10 rebounds, 13 points, it's not like he's shooting the 3 ball, getting 13 points. He's doing it with 2s. He's definitely a guy that I love to watch. 4 offensive rebounds for him. He's kind of the heart and soul of this team. If we could have him earlier on the year, I think it could be a little bit different. But you see the way he plays, like he's the definition of Buzz Williams. Plays hard, defends, rebounds. Like that's kind of like what we're supposed to be. But we haven't really gotten to it as well as we've wanted to. I thought Darius Adams has been kind of what he's been all year. He'll score a little bit, but it'll be really inefficient. But I just don't think we're there as a team, to be completely honest. And you just look at kind of what Illinois was, just way more consistent all around. I mean, shot 38% from the 3-point arc compared to our 31%. They had a couple guys that we just couldn't match up with. Like, I don't even want to try and pronounce his name. The Andrzej Stojovic guy, 30 points on us. He looked like the best player on the court. David Merkovich was good as well. Like, they had some guys that were good players, and we're just seeing Maryland have these lapses offensively. And that's where I'm starting to say Buzz Williams needs to change up what he's doing, because what he's doing right now isn't working. And I think changing the lineup, like Isaiah Watts, like, I don't mean to be mean, but I'd be okay if he didn't play. Like, he hasn't played well at all. And I think a guy like Miles Rice or Andre Mills deserves that spot. And I think that has to change. I think Alex Austin also is a guy that could be really good for us next year. He played a lot of minutes, made a 3, made a couple buckets as well, got to the free throw line, had a couple rebounds. He played well, but you just see Maryland, like they're outsized for one. We're just way outsized in the front court. We have nobody that's that big, and we saw that. We see these rebounding differences in the game that just can't happen. Like when you're starting Elijah Sanders and George Turkson, who only plays 4 minutes, like they're both 6'8". Like it doesn't work to a team that's much bigger. Look at the rebound difference: 47 rebounds to Illinois, to Maryland only 31. Like that's why I'm like, even starting Colin Metcalf, who might not be offensively great, I think wouldn't be bad. Like George Turkson only played 4 minutes. It's like, I'm just a little confused on the Buzz Williams rotation. I'm like, I know we're kind of out of the conversation of everything, but I'm like, are we trying to win games? Like, I feel like we're going after the number 1 pick at times. Like, I just think you got to change. What I would do right now is this. I mean, I know Solomon Washington's been cool coming off the bench. He's been good coming off the bench. Like, if you want to leave that, then fine. But I would do Colin Metcalf at the 5. We got to be able to rebound the ball better and get some more shot production. Elijah Sanders at the 4. Darius Adams at the 3. And then I would try Miles Rice at the 2. And then I would Diggy Coit at point guard. And Diggy didn't play that well either, didn't make a lot of shots. But I've been saying this with Diggy because I'm not frustrated with going 1 for 8 from the 3-point arc. I said, if he doesn't play well, if he doesn't shoot the ball well, that's fine. We need him to take some tough contested shots, because that's our offense right now, is Diggy hopefully getting 35 points and have a chance to beat Illinois. And if he goes 4 of 8 from the 3-point line or 5 of 8, like we've seen, all of a sudden, that's 12 more points for Maryland. And you're looking at it and you're like, maybe they could be in it. But to lose by 29 points, I said 19 earlier. I was looking at the wrong score. To lose by 29 points when the spread was 19 points. It's just not it's not where it's supposed to be. And I'm not one to point fingers, but Buzz, man, it's just got to be better. It does. It feels unorganized. It feels like we're all over the place. It feels like he can't make a decision. It feels like guys are playing more than they should. He's afraid to take guys completely off the lineup. It just doesn't look right. When you look at the minutes, when you look at who's starting, it's what do we got going on? And you look at a team like Illinois, it's a clean rotation. Most of their starters are playing 30 minutes. A lot of their bench guys are playing 8 to 9 minutes, or their six man's playing 20 minutes. It's a lot cleaner. Where you look at Maryland, you got one guy who started played 4 minutes, another guy who started playing 15, and then another guy that started playing 30, and then a couple of guys off the bench are getting 20. Another guy off the bench is getting 3, another is getting 19. It's all over the place. It's not clean, and I think that hurts Maryland basketball, and it makes it harder to win games. Let's talk a little bit of a more positive perspective. Maryland football adds a really big key portal hit that I'm really excited about. Let's talk about that next. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by trusted local experts, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours and trying to figure out forms, you can meet with local TurboTax experts in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents to go about your day and get it updates right in the TurboTax app. It's huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can save your taxes done by local TurboTax experts for just $150 all in. If TurboTax experts didn't file for last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. Maryland football gets a big commit out of the portal, and I'll talk about it a little bit more in my first segment tomorrow, but I'm really excited with this Maryland transfer portal class, but particularly the newest pickup that Maryland football got in the portal. I was reading a little bit about this kid, Telly Lockett. I hope I'm saying his name right. An offensive lineman coming out of the portal that is supposed to be pretty good. It's supposed to be a pretty good portal pickup. I was reading a little bit about it, but I guess he's kind of an interior offensive lineman, which is exactly what we need. He's a huge body, and people are saying that this guy's pretty good of a player. And I've been preaching for a while now that this offensive line just hasn't been good enough under Mike Locksley. It's just been bad, and it's definitely something that needs to be fixed. It definitely is something that needs to be changed. And I've been looking at Maryland football, and I'm like, please, 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 can we have a decent offensive line? And there's no better time to have a good offensive line up front than right now. You have the best quarterback, the quarterback with the most potential, I'll say, in the Mike Locksley era. We haven't had, Talia was good, but Talia ain't nearly as talented as Malik Washington. I don't care who, you can ask anybody. Talia was good. I don't care about what kind of stats he has. The Big Ten, what is he? The Big Ten passing leader, all those different things. Yeah, it's cool and all, but Malik's way more talented than Talia was. And that's just the reality of the situation. And if you can't protect him, the talent isn't going to show as much as you want. It'll be similar to this year. You're going to get flashes. You're going to see it. Everybody knows it, but it's not going to be a consistent thing like you see from guys like, let's say, Fernando Mendoza this year. I'm not saying Malik Washington is going to have a Heisman campaign, but who knows? A guy like Fernando Mendoza when it comes out, or a guy like Julian Sayin when it comes out. I don't think necessarily Julian Sayin's 10 times better than Malik Washington. I just think he's better pieces around him. Or even a guy like Bryce Underwood, who arguably Malik Washington, you could say, had the better year. You might feel more confident in, but Bryce Underwood has a better supporting cast up front, which is going to probably make him look a little bit better a lot of the times. But I think having a good offensive line and bringing in this kid, Telly Lockett, is really good for Maryland football. Right at the guard position is what he plays, and that's exactly what you need when you look at the current depth chart. You lose Alou Bao at guard, which is really big. So we have one of those spots open, and then I think Isaiah Wright's gone as well, if I'm not mistaken. And so you would have a couple of guys at guard that have the potential to replace that. Amari Hill's the freshman from last year that played a lot, that we feel pretty good about being a pretty good player in the future. Ryan Howerton, a similar type of thing, redshirt freshman, highly recruited. Like, you feel pretty good about those two guys playing. But now you get this guy, Lockett, that you're like, we feel even better about this guy being a really good player out of the transfer portal. He had a lot of big time interest, and for good reason. I always say this. You guys hear me say this. There's only so many. God only created so many of these big offensive linemen that are good, and he was really good. He was a top graded offensive lineman in Group of 5 according to PFF. Like, this is a big time pickup for Maryland football, and I know there was a lot of different teams that were after him. Like, I saw stuff that like Texas Longhorns were after him for a while. I know Rutgers was after him. Like, there was a lot of different teams that were after him. So I think he can play. I think he played right guard last year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the left or the right. But he could just be on the right and plug and play. So I do think it's perfect for Maryland football. I think it's great for hopefully our run game, because, man, this dude's a mountain. Like, one of the biggest guys on our team, if not the biggest guy, like really similar to Alou Bao, who decides to go to LSU. We'll see if that ends up working out for him. I hope it does. But, man, I think this offensive line looks a lot better. You have some talent like along the offensive line. You have some depth. You have some guys coming back. You also wanted to add Jalen Gilchrist to that conversation. Like, this thing could work. Like, this thing could work. Like, it's there. The tools are there. It's set up to be a decent offensive line. We're just going to have to see it come together. We can't forget, we got Latrell Perry coming back. I would still like to see Maryland add another tackle, because with Alan Herron gone, we're going to need another tackle. But the interior, you look pretty good. You have a bunch of guys that can compete. Michael Hershey was our best graded guy last year. Latrell Perry, arguably just our best guy when you just watch it at tackle. And then you add in a couple of guards that you feel good about in terms of young guys that you've hopefully developed for a year that should be a lot better. And then also a transfer that you feel pretty good about. And now let's just add a tackle and maybe another like swing guy like that can kind of play anywhere. And this thing looks pretty good. I still kind of think the receiver room's a little bit iffy, but I think this is a big pickup on the offensive line. And I think it works for Maryland football. I do. And I'm excited to see kind of like what ends up happening with it. But I like where we're at overall with this team, with this offensive line. I like where we are at now. I've been begging for us to add one. I was like, there's no way Mike Loxley doesn't add one of these guys. I think it's better than where we were last year. And I think it should come together. I do. I think it'll end up working out. I think we'll be able to end up figuring it out. And I think it'll help the run game a lot, having a big guard like this that can hopefully actually push guys back, because, our run game's been pretty awful. So I really do hope that's something that changes, that fixes. What about another underlying offensive line commit that is one of the best players in the country? Could we get him to commit? Is Maryland in that conversation? We'll talk about that next. So I wanted to talk to you guys about a guy that is a pretty big time player, not a guy that I expect for us to get into in the portal, but you never know. And that is Jordan Seaton. And I've talked about it before. What it would mean for Maryland football to get Jordan Seaton, it would mean like everything. Like that, I feel like that would fix our team. To have a guy at tackle like that for Malik Washington, I think he would start playing like maybe he would look like Shedeur Sanders. But I think it would be huge. And right now, he's the best offensive tackle in the portal. He's one of the best players in the portal. Obviously, I thought there was a shot he went to Maryland. Like, if we got a couple years of him, I'd be happy. Remember, he was doing that whole thing with Colorado and Maryland. Like, he was committed to Colorado, but people thought he might decommit to Maryland. It was a whole thing, and he was like posting different things that like led you to believe he was going to go to Maryland. People crystal balled him to Maryland. Like, there was a thought there that it could happen. I know it didn't end up happening, but there was a thought there that that could end up happening and end up coming true. And now you have him back in the portal. And in terms of, I don't know how much this matters to him. It really doesn't. I'll tell you that. But in terms of playing and having an impact, Maryland could be like one of the best places for him. I think it would be something different for him. And I know coming back home would be something kind of crazy. And I've seen reports that Maryland could be like an underlying team that no one's really thinking about that maybe could make it happen. I doubt it. I'll say that. I want to make sure and get that out the way. I do doubt it. But it would be a really cool story that not that many people would tell. And I think it would be awesome for Maryland football to get a guy like that. Ratrell Perry would have to boot you over to the right side, but I think everyone would be willing to do that because you have maybe the best draft pick out of any offensive lineman out there next year in Jordan Seaton. Like, he's probably a first-round pick. And to have him blocking from Malik Washington with some of these other guys up front, like, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Now, Mike Locksley would have to do some magic and do some flip miss, whatever we want to call it. What do we call it? When Locksley's flipping guys, I forget what we call it exactly, but he'd have to pull something off, and it probably would cost a lot of money. And it's hard to understand what Maryland football has in terms of NIL money. I think it's obvious that we don't have as much as like in LSU or like Oregon. Those are a couple schools that he's looking at. Like, everyone knows, or Texas. We don't have that much. But could you make a push for him? I think it'd be worth it. I think it'd make your football team 10 times better. I think we would definitely look a lot better. But can you make it happen? Probably not. And I'm not going to like sit here and act like I think it's going to happen, but there has been reports. That's why I stuck it in that last segment. There has been reports. Excuse me, get the hiccups. There has been reports. It's something that could end up being a thing, or that is like an underlying team that like is in the conversations with him and like making a push for him. But I do kind of doubt that it'll end up happening. I know that LSU is a favorite, but I've like read a couple different things. He's going to get a huge package from someone. But on three things LSU is going to happen. Yeah, Miami was another team. It'd probably be tough not to want to go there with kind of their situation being in the national championship game. They'll probably end up getting a top QB. I know they're looking at that Duke kid, but they're like, there's a whole lot going on with this transfer portal stuff. But he put in good time at Colorado, and he's been starting at left tackle and has been good since he's been a freshman at Colorado. And that's something that isn't really like a thing. That's not much of a thing. A guy playing at that high of a level on the offensive line since he's been that young, not supposed to happen for Maryland football or for football in general, college football, but it happened for Jordan Seaton, and it would just be crazy. It would bring attention to Maryland football, and I think we would all love to see it happen. And I think for Malik Washington, I think two DMV guys like that, you would just be it was Zion Ely as well. Some of the rushers he would go against every day, like I would be over the moon, and I would be like, this Maryland team's about to win the national championship. Like, we're this year's Indiana. Now, that's not going to happen, but it would have been a cool story. It would have been cool for something like that to happen. But that's not what it's looking like it's going to happen. So that's all we have for today. Thank you guys for listening to Locked On Terps. Make sure you guys all like and subscribe. We're all here every day talking Maryland football and basketball. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. But thank you guys all for listening to Locked On Terps.